if he's done it, I can do it too? Or he's just been the permission slip for me to break through my own thresholds? Or are you looking at him and being like, that's just because he's Alex Hormozi. Oh, that will never happen to me. Notice the stories that are coming through in your mind.
You know the vibe. All spice, no sugar. Let's get into it.
Alrighty, welcome back to another episode on the Don't Sugarcoat It podcast. We're up to episode 26. Yep, amazing. 26. There's officially half a year of the Don't Sugarcoat It podcast. Are you kidding me? That's weird. I feel like I started this yesterday, but here we are 6 months later, half a year, and we're in. Are we vibing? I'm fucking vibing. I was actually listening to the last few episodes that I uploaded, and I was like, I've done well. I've grown so much. My voice and how I speak and how I communicate has grown so much. So I know that I'm growing through this podcast. So I trust that you're growing too. And this episode is all about growth and breaking through from something that was once perceived as impossible. If you've been living under a rock for the last month or so, you would know that Alex Hormozi done some pretty fucking cool shit recently. Alex Hormozi has just broken a Guinness World Record for the fastest selling nonfiction book in a single year. And he didn't do this by just breaking it. He fucking doubled the record. So he didn't just half-ass it. He quite literally doubled the record. So he recently launched his book, $100 Million Money Models. And he sold, I have it written down here, over 2.9 million copies in 24 hours. Now, when you say, I feel like when you say 2.9 million copies in 24 hours, because the number is so massive, it kind of doesn't clock. It's not clocking to me. But then when I think about the amount of work and time and effort and energy, time spent to launching this book, apparently he had this book written for 3 years, and he was so dedicated to the marketing process, the commitment process of breaking through this threshold, that he would journey this time to then break through and not only just create a new Guinness World Record, but to double it. So he sold over 2.9 million copies in 24 hours. And the thing that I want to dive into, you're probably like, Kenny, why the fuck are you talking about Alex Hormozi? This is your podcast. Yes, I know. I love talking about myself. And also there's a message here. There is a lesson here that I want to dive into. He spent $4 million. Okay, this is what really makes my brain tick. I fucking love thinking about this stuff. But he spent $4 million on ads for this launch. And you might think that doesn't really make sense. He's only sold 2.9 copies, but he spent $4 million on ads and had already made $3 million profit before the book had even gone to market. That is insane. If that's not telling you the power of marketing and the power of understanding biopsychology, then I don't know what the fuck is, babe. That is showing you how much it is required for you to be convicted in your message, convicted in your product. He poured millions of dollars into this and hadn't yet made more profit. He's spent $4 million, had made $3 million just from the ads, but he was ready to upfront that level and that amount of money to break this world record. And of course, with the world record, he hit, I think it was $100.5 million in 24 hours, which is fucking insane. It trumps over I think collectively out of any book that was ever launched, I think J.K. Rowling's was up there. It's just Spare by Prince Harry apparently was the record holder, which I didn't even know what fucking book that is, by the way. I was like, when I was doing the research for this episode, I was like, what the fuck even is this book? Don't even know. Haven't even heard about it. J.K. Rowling makes sense. Harry Potter novels make sense, but what the fuck is Spare? I don't even know. Anyway, apparently that was holding the world record, and Hormozi was just like, I'm going to fuck this shit up. So of course he doubled the record. And then I think on the list when I was doing my research, it was $100.5 million, Alex Hormozi with his $100 million money model book. And then beneath that was this random fucking Prince Harry book, which I'm still tripping out on. And then it was just like J.K. Rowling, J.K. Rowling, J.K. Rowling, and all the Harry Potter books. I'm like, that makes sense. And for like, think of how global and how world-renowned the Harry Potter series is and how world-renowned J.K. Rowling is. And think of the impact and the generations that she has influenced from her books. And in one singular day, Alex Hormozi absolutely destroyed her. Like, absolutely he changed the game. So he changed the game, which means he's actually incomparable. Like, no one can compare to the game that he's playing because he's playing to change a completely different game. Like, when we think about like comparison, you're trying to beat other people at whatever game that you're playing, whatever level that you're playing at right now, whether it's you're sitting on you're a bench warmer right now, you're just sitting on the sidelines playing to watch, like you're not even in the game. Then there's people who are on the field. Like, if we're thinking of a football stadium here, if you're sitting on the sidelines, you're playing a lose-lose game because you're not even in it. You need to be in it to win it, right? That's fucking the most basic quote that anyone talks about. Then there's people who are sitting on the bench warmers. So they're half in the game, half out. They're playing like a lose-win. And then there's people who are actually playing, and they're the people in the work. They're in their game. They're putting the time in. They're putting the effort in. They're putting the reps in. They're playing the game playing to win. And then you've got fucking Alex Hormozi on the other side. He's playing a different game. He's not even playing fucking football. He's like, I've made my own game over here, guys. And everyone turns to be like, hang on, what is this guy doing? And for a moment, people are like, what's actually happening there? And then that's when the shift happens. When everything that he has been waiting for, like I said, he had this book written for 3 years. And the moment that he put it to market, he broke a world record by double. That is what happens when you play to change the game. Now no one can compare to how he plays the game. And this is so important. Mind you, also, the commitment to the launch that this man had. He spent 9 hours on a masterclass. He spent 9 hours on a masterclass committed to this launch. So this guy was like, I am going to break this world record and I'm going to commit to the cause, eat my own medicine, because he knew that the time, the energy, and the commitment that he had to his own game would completely revolutionize how everyone sees marketing, how everyone sees launching, how everyone sees creating, selling, showing up, making money, how everyone sees entrepreneurship. He has done that. He's basically just become the modern day age of the 4-minute mile. So if you have heard of like the 4-minute mile, is basically the story of like a guy, actually his name is Roger Bannister. So Roger Bannister, the crazy thing is, it was perceived to be physiologically impossible to run a 4-minute mile. And this random guy, Roger Bannister, who wasn't even a runner, by the way, he was actually just like a middle-aged British med student, decided one day that he was going to do the impossible, which was run a 4-minute mile. And he challenged himself and he did that. And he ran, I think it was like 3 minutes and 49.7 seconds or something. Technically, so he did it. He ran a 4-minute mile. It had never been ever done before, and it was actually deemed physically impossible for someone to run a 4-minute mile. And from this, he also changed the game. And after he had broken through this threshold, it was only 46 days later that an Australian, shout out to the Aussies, that an Australian runner had done it. But not only had he also run a 4-minute mile, he had done it faster. So you can see the pattern that's playing out here is that person that has broken through what was once perceived impossible opened up a can of worms for others to go first. And this is the true embodiment of a leader, right? The person who goes first. Alex Hormozi has just done that in the entrepreneurial space of breaking this record of over $100 million made in 24 hours from a book launch. And just the same as what Roger Bannister did when he broke the 4-minute mile, he paved the way forward for other people. And 3 years from when Roger Bannister broke that 4-minute mile record, over 16 people had done the same. Now, think about just before this, no one had ever done this before. It was deemed physically impossible. And after one person had changed the game, it opened the floodgates for more people to play that game. And it just proves that all limitations that we perceive are completely mental. That everything that we put outside of ourselves as not possible is actually just a mental barrier. Even if it's quote unquote proved physically impossible, we've seen humans consistently shift the game, change the game. So now that I look at how Alex Hormozi has changed the game completely in entrepreneurial space, it's like, how exciting does being on, like, this is how I think, right? I'm like, fuck yeah, he's made $100 million in 24 hours. Like, wow, he's just made it possible. And so many people, and I want you to pay attention to the thoughts and the stories that you're running in your mind. Like, are you saying, fuck yeah, if he's done it, I can do it too? Or he's just been the permission slip for me to break through my own thresholds? Or are you looking at him and being like, oh, that's just because he's Alex Hormozi. Oh, that will never happen to me. Oh, that's just because he's a millionaire. Notice the stories that are coming through in your mind. And I'll be the first to admit that when I was, obviously when everyone went crazy about this new world record, I didn't really pay attention to it too much. And there's a few layers here. One, I was just so in my own zone. I'm just like, I'm not paying attention to anyone right now. Like recently on social media, this is a bit of a side quest. On social media, I've basically muted anyone in my industry. I pretty much muted all of their posts, their stories, their everything who is in the same industry or does a similar thing to me, because I actually want to disconnect from what other people are doing and just hone in on my own game. And it's been so interesting since doing that. I think also like post breakup, we're like 3 months breakup now. So I'm really like starting to get back into my flow, my rhythm, my energy, my time. And I noticed that I was giving so much time away to other people because I was in comparison. And since shifting all of that energy out and I have stopped paying attention to other people and just being fully in my own game, I'm playing my own game and I'm playing my game to change the game, that I've had so many opportunities come into my field. I've had so much cash flow come into my field. I've had clients come into my field. My channel, my creative flow, my creative essence has been so lit up that I feel unfuckwithable. And I notice that, wow, we give away our power so easily and so quickly when we're looking outside and comparing ourselves. And I felt that. I was like, I'm looking outside and I'm comparing myself to people in the game, in my game. So what happens if I just completely removed any touch points to them and just fully honed in on myself? And it's only been like a few weeks since I've really dialed in on that story and that belief and that process. And I have seen myself shift in leaps and bounds, not only in how I hold myself, how I feel within myself, but also the things that are coming into my field. So I'm wondering, where are you giving away your power by watching other people? How can you hone in on the game that you're playing? And what type of game are you playing? Are you playing to win or lose? Or you are playing to change the game? And what are you allowing yourself to be perceived as? What cap have you put on yourself? That's a fucking good question that I want you to ponder, is what cap have you put on yourself? What ceiling are you still letting yourself believe is unbreakable? Because pay attention to, and it doesn't even have to be the big players in the game like Alex Hormozi or anyone else who you look up to in your industry, whether it's like literally A-league, like fucking the big dogs like Mark Zuckerberg and any other people in that industry, or if it's even below that, who is the industry leader that you're in, the people that you can like look up to and go, wow, like they're just so amazing and iconic, or even just your coach and your mentor. And what cap are you putting on yourself by looking at them and saying, I can't do that, or that's just lucky for them? The minute you do that, you, one, give away your power, and two, cut yourself off from universal source actually guiding you and showing you the pathway to creating that. Because I know like when I was like when all the chaos was going around with Alex Hormozi and just being like, holy fuck, like this is insane. It wasn't until I was actually on the weekend just gone, I was in a 3-day event with a 3-day transformational event, which is actually really cool to be a student in the room, because I haven't been a student in a very long time. Like I'm the facilitator. I've shifted from the student into the leader and the facilitator. And normally I'm running the rooms and I'm running the transformational rooms. And now I was being a student in the room, and I just forgot how fucking good it was, how fucking great it is to do personal development, to journey to the depths of your souls, have fucking emotional breakthroughs and recalibrate to your next level identity. And it was actually, we were talking about this inside the room. And a big thread throughout this 3-day event that I was in is, how are you playing the game? How are you showing up? Are you focusing on a lose-lose game? Or are you recognizing that you're playing the game to lose? And can you detach yourself and pivot and play a different game? Because the moment that you can zoom out of how you're showing up in the world, how you're showing up in your business, and this goes across all aspects of life. This goes across your business, your relationships, your family, your friends, your social, like your spiritual connection, your career, like your personal life, physical, mental, psychological, sexual, spiritual, all of these things. How you're playing the game in that area of life maps across to every other area. And the moment that you can realize how you're playing, you get given a choice. You get given a choice to whether you want to continue to play as is, or can you recognize if you're losing or winning, and can you actually detach from the result or the commitment that you had and pivot. And I'm going to give you an example, because in this personal development event that I was in over the last 3 days, we were given a task where there was a group of us, there was probably about 10 people, and we had to stand in a circle and we had to put our arm out and hold hands with a random person on the other side of the circle. And then we had to put our other arm out and then hold hands with another person inside the circle. And then it was a race between those two groups. There was a race of who could untangle themselves first. I'm wondering if you've ever played that game. And it's really interesting, like, how people show up, because I'm naturally a competitive person. Like, I play the game to fucking win. And it's so interesting, this energy that came through me as I was playing this game. Like, come on, we've got to fucking go. We've got to beat these people. We're going to play the game to win. Like, and then at the same time, I was like strategically analyzing how we could all move and work together and getting the group in, but like, yeah, okay, cool. And it was interesting because some of the people who were in my group had already played this game, and they knew that it was physically impossible to do. And the game was specifically set up for you to lose and for it to not actually be achievable to completely untangle yourself. And so some of the people in my group were like telling me it's a losing game, we're playing a losing game, my initial response was, okay, but I want to at least try. Like, can we create some movement? Because if I was to put that into the lens of my life, I would still rather try than to not even give it a go. So my lens was like, no, like I at least want to say, yeah, I gave it a go, rather than not even try. So whilst we did that for a little moment, and it was just really interesting to recognize that even though people had already played the game, I was still the more convicted voice within the group. So even though people knew that we weren't going to win, they still let me control the group in the sense, or influence the group to be like, no, I want to play at least to get a little bit untangled. And then if this is real, that this is actually impossible, then I'll give up. And it's so interesting noticing my own patterns and beliefs of being like, nah, I'm fucking committed to this. And I'm also going to bring everyone on board to at least give this a go, even though it actually is impossible. So in that very moment, I realized, oh my God, that's one, I kind of like that about me, that I will be committed to giving it a go, because hello, that's why I'm the person talking to you right now. That's why I'm the successful one, because I'm that fucking committed to the game. And then also I was like, wow, how else is this showing up in my life, and where else am I going, like holding myself so in integrity for what I say I'm going to do, even though it's jeopardizing my growth. So when I came to that realization, I was like, okay, cool. I've given this a go. I've realized that it's impossible. I'm ready to let go. And by letting go to change the game, we actually ended up winning, because we came to that realization faster. So I'm wondering, how deep have you gotten yourself in a game to try and win, even though you're playing to lose. Because the moment that you can recognize that and shift and be like, okay, there's no growth for me here, or there may be growth, but I know there's more available if I turn and look at a different direction. The faster that you can recognize that, the faster that you step away from that game and actually start playing something that is going to yield results, that's actually going to win, that's actually going to change how you show up in the world and how you live and how you receive. So that was really interesting for me to notice, like how important it is to be hyper aware of the type of the game and how you're showing up in the game. And then so we played the game again, and then this time one hand was, so we had to link hands with another person in the group, and this time, because we'd done it again, had more awareness of like, okay, I'm going to just grab hands with the same person on the other side, or one person didn't have their hand connected. It made me realize in that moment, and what I learned in that moment was the minute that you can change one piece of how you're playing the game, it completely changes the entire experience. So one small change literally changes everything. So whilst you may be showing up a particular way in your business, in your life, if it's not yielding the results that you desire, what small change can you shift and pivot to change it completely, to completely revolutionize your experience and to yield different results? And this is all comes down to how you're actually perceiving and the stories that you're running in your mind. Can you look at yourself and recognize where your ceilings are and know that, okay, cool, I'm hitting this ceiling, I'm coming up against this threshold. How long have I been doing this for? Has anything actually shifted, or is it time for me to shift how I'm showing up in the game to play differently? So my question that I want you to ponder on after listening to this episode and becoming aware of like how you're seeing yourself in the game that you're playing. How are you viewing the big fucking A-leagues? What are the stories that you're running in your mind when you look at them? These are all key indicators for what type of results you're going to get. Are you going to win or are you going to lose? Or are you just going to completely shift and change the game completely? So the question that I want to leave you with as you begin to ponder this is, what ceiling are you still letting yourself believe is unbreakable? My beautiful babe, I will see you in the next episode of the Don't Sugarcoat It podcast. Bye.